The red dust swirled around Hyunwoo's boots as he walked toward the strange crystal structure. The alien ruins on planet Kepler 442b had been calling to him for weeks. Something about this place felt different from all the other dead worlds they had explored. "Captain, you need to see this," Dr. Sojin called from inside the crystal formation. Her voice echoed strangely in the hollow space. Hyunwoo pushed through the narrow opening. The inside of the structure was bigger than it looked from outside. Smooth walls curved up into darkness above them. Strange symbols covered every surface, glowing with a soft blue light. "What do you think it is?" he asked. Sojin ran her scanner over the walls. "The readings are incredible. This isn't just a building. It's some kind of machine. A very advanced machine." Engineer Taemin squeezed through the opening behind them. He whistled when he saw the symbols. "I've never seen anything like this. The power readings are off the charts, but there's no visible energy source." "Maybe it's sleeping," Communications Officer Yuna suggested as she entered. She carried her equipment in a heavy pack. "Some alien technology goes dormant for long periods." Security Chief Dong Hyun was the last to enter. He kept his weapon ready, even though they had found no signs of life on this planet. "We should be careful. We don't know what this thing does." The team had been exploring dead worlds for 3 years now. Every planet they found showed signs of once great civilizations, but no living beings. It was as if entire species had simply vanished from the galaxy. "Look at this," Sojin said, pointing to a section of wall. "These symbols repeat in patterns. It might be some kind of language." Taemin set up his equipment near what looked like a control panel. "There are connection points here. This whole structure might be part of a network." "A network of what?" Hyunwoo asked. "Communication, maybe. Or transportation. Hard to tell without more data." Yuna was setting up her own gear. "If it's a communication network, I might be able to interface with it. My equipment can adapt to most alien systems." The work took hours. As the team studied the structure, they began to understand its purpose. The crystal formation was indeed part of a vast communication network that had once connected hundreds of worlds across the galaxy. "Captain," Yuna said, her voice tight with excitement, "I'm getting something. The network is responding to my signals." "What kind of response?" "Data, lots of it. Messages, maybe. Some are very old." She paused, studying her screens. "Wait, there's something strange here." Hyunwoo moved closer to look at her display. "What is it?" "One of the last messages in the system. It's in human language." The words hit the team like a physical blow. They had never found any evidence of humans in the galactic community. Earth was supposed to be humanity's first and only world. "That's impossible," Dong Hyun said. "Humans never left Earth until 200 years ago. The timestamp on this message says it's 847 years old." Yuna replied. Sojin's hand shook as she worked with her translation equipment. "If this is real, it means humans were part of the galactic community long before we thought." "Can you decode the message?" Hyunwoo asked. "It's encrypted. Military-grade encryption from old Earth." Yuna's fingers flew over her controls. "I have the key codes in my database." "Give me a moment." The team waited in tense silence. The blue glow from the wall seemed brighter now, as if the ancient machine was fully awakening. "Got it," Yuna announced. Her face went pale as she read the decoded message. "What does it say?" Hyunwoo demanded. Yuna cleared her throat and read aloud. "To any who receive this transmission, this is Earth Command final broadcast. We have learned the truth about the galactic community. The choice has been made. You have sealed your fate. Earth goes dark. Remember us." The message was signed by someone called Director Chan Woo, dated exactly 847 years ago. "There's more," Yuna continued. "Attached files. Military reports, scientific data, and..." She paused. "A list of coordinates." Taemin was studying his own readings. "The network is responding to the message. It's like opening the file activated something." "What kind of something?" Dong Hyun asked, his weapon now fully ready. "Unknown. But the power levels in this structure just increased by 300%. So Jin was translating more symbols from the walls. According to this, the network connected 847 different worlds. All the messages stopped at the same time 847 years ago. The same time as Earth's final message, Hyunwoo realized. "Not just Earth," Yuna said, scanning through more data. "Look at this. The last messages from dozens of worlds all contain the same phrase, 'The humans were right.' The implications were staggering. Humanity had somehow been part of a galactic civilization that had completely disappeared from history. And whatever had happened, it had involved every major species in the galaxy. "Captain," Taman called urgently. "We need to leave now." "Why?" "The activation sequence isn't stopping. This whole structure is powering up for something big." Through the crystal walls, they could see lights beginning to shine across the planet's surface. Other structures hidden until now were awakening. "The coordinates in the message," Yuna said quickly. "They're not random. They're pointing to specific star systems." "Which ones?" "Systems that our current star charts say are empty. Dead space." As they gathered their equipment and prepared to leave, Hyunwoo realized their discovery had changed everything. The galaxy they thought they knew was built on lies. Humanity had been here before, and something terrible had driven them away. The crystal structure pulsed with energy as they emerged into the alien sunset. In the distance, more ruins were lighting up, responding to the ancient signal. "We need to get back to Earth Command," Hyunwoo decided. "They need to know what we found." But as their ship lifted off from the planet's surface, he wondered if Earth Command already knew. And if they did, why had they sent his team here to find it? The message had been clear. Someone had sealed humanity's fate 847 years ago. Now that the network was active again, Hyunwoo feared they were about to learn what that fate really was. The journey back to human space took 2 weeks. During that time, Yuna worked day and night to decode more files from the alien network. What she found made less sense each day. "Captain," she said, showing Hyunwoo her latest findings, "the network wasn't just for communication. It was a control system. Control of what? Everything. Trade routes, resource allocation, military movements. Whoever ran this network controlled the entire galaxy." Hyunwoo studied the data on her screen. "And you're saying humans were part of this?" "More than part of it. According to these records, humans were asking questions that no one wanted answered." So Jin looked up from her own research. "I've been studying the final messages from other species. They all mention something called the human revelation. Whatever humans discovered, it scared everyone. Their ship, the Indomitable, was still 3 days from Earth when Hyunwoo decided to contact Admiral Boram directly. The conversation would be classified at the highest levels. Boram's face appeared on the communication screen. She looked tired, older than her 50 years. "Captain Kim, I understand you found something unusual. Admiral, we need access to the classified archives. Everything from 2540 CE. Boram's expression didn't change, but Hyunwoo saw something flicker in her eyes. "Fear, maybe. Or guilt. That information is restricted for good reason, Captain. Admiral, we found evidence that humans were part of a galactic community 847 years ago. The same community that supposedly doesn't exist." A long silence followed. Finally, Boram spoke. "Return to Earth immediately. Bring all your data. We'll discuss this in person." The connection ended abruptly. "She knows something," Donghyun observed. Her reaction wasn't surprise. It was panic. When they reached Earth, things moved quickly. Their ship was directed to a military facility Hyunwoo had never seen before. Security was tight and their equipment was confiscated the moment they landed. Admiral Boram met them in a windowless briefing room deep underground. With her was an elderly man introduced only as Director Jae-ho. "Before we begin," Boram said, "you all need to understand that what you're about to learn is known to fewer than 50 people in human space." Director Jae-ho activated a holographic display. The year 2540 CE was not humanity's first contact with aliens. It was our second. The hologram showed star charts from 850 years ago. Dozens of human colonies were marked throughout the galaxy. "Our first contact happened in 2510, Jae-ho continued. "A species called the Vorthak found one of our outer colonies. They seemed friendly, advanced, peaceful." "What happened?" Sojin asked. "They invited us to join the galactic community. Said we would be part of a great civilization spanning thousands of worlds." The display changed, showing massive space stations and fleets of alien ships. "For 30 years, we were grateful members of this community. We shared our technology, our resources, our people. We thought we had found paradise, but," Hyunwoo prompted. Director Jae-ho's expression darkened. "But one of our deep space exploration teams found something they weren't supposed to find." The hologram showed a planet covered in massive mining operations. Millions of beings worked in the mines, but they weren't using advanced technology. They were using primitive tools, working in terrible conditions. "A slave world," Donghyun said quietly. "One of hundreds. The galactic community wasn't a partnership of equals. It was a pyramid. Advanced species at the top, everyone else as workers, soldiers, or resources. Yuna stared at the display. And humans? We were being prepared for the middle levels. Not slaves, but not free either. Our role was to be enforcers, keeping the lower species in line. Admiral Boram took over the explanation. When our people found the truth, they tried to expose it. They contacted other species, gathered evidence, prepared to bring everything to light. What stopped them? The Vorthak and their allies. They had dealt with idealistic species before. The usual procedure was simple: join willingly or be conquered. The hologram showed fleet movements, battle plans, and population estimates. Earth's leaders faced an impossible choice, Director Jeho said. Submit to the system and become part of the oppression, or fight a war we couldn't win. So they chose a third option, Hyunwoo realized. Director Chanwoo was brilliant. Instead of fighting or surrendering, he proposed something else entirely. The display changed to show Earth's solar system in the year 2540. Humanity would disappear, not just leave the galactic community, but vanish completely. Let them think we were destroyed or had destroyed ourselves. The final message, Yuna said, was part of the deception. We made it look like humanity had chosen mutual destruction rather than submission. The entire galactic community thought Earth had become a dead world. So Jin was studying the timeline. But our colonies, the millions of humans spread across the galaxy, evacuated in secret over 3 years. Every human ship, every colony, every trace of our presence was erased or hidden. Hidden where? Admiral Boram smiled for the first time since they had arrived. That's the beautiful part. We didn't just disappear. We went to places the galactic community had written off as worthless. Dead systems, unstable stars, planets they considered uninhabitable. And we've been there ever since? Growing, learning, preparing. Director Jeho brought up new star charts. These showed human settlements throughout the galaxy, all in systems marked as empty on official galactic maps. 47 years of hidden development. While the galactic community stagnated, controlled by the same oppressive system, humanity has been advancing. How far advanced? Taman asked. Far enough, Boram replied. Your discovery of the communication network wasn't an accident. We've been waiting for the right moment to reveal ourselves. And that moment is now. The activation codes you triggered have awakened sleeper systems throughout the galaxy. Hidden human colonies are receiving the signal. After 847 years of preparation, it's time to come home. Hyunwoo felt a chill run down his spine. Come home to do what? Director Jeho's expression was grim but determined. To finish what Director Chanwoo started. The galactic community made their choice 847 years ago. They chose oppression over justice. And now? Now they'll face the consequences. Humanity spent 8 centuries becoming strong enough to tear down their system and build something better. You're talking about war, Donghyun said. We're talking about liberation, Admiral Boram corrected. The enslaved species of the galaxy have been waiting for someone strong enough to break their chains. And you think that's us? We know it is. The question is whether you're ready to be part of it. As the briefing ended, Hyunwoo realized that their discovery on Kepler 442b had been more than finding an ancient message. They had triggered the beginning of the end for the galactic order that had driven humanity into hiding. The final message had indeed sealed someone's fate. But it wasn't humanity's. 3 days after the briefing on Earth, Hyunwoo's team was aboard a new ship heading toward coordinates they had never seen before. The Indomitable had been replaced with something called the Pathfinder, equipped with technology that seemed impossible. This ship moves faster than anything in our fleet, Taman observed, studying the engine readings. How is that possible? 847 years of hidden development, Yuna reminded him. While the galaxy stayed the same, we kept improving. Their destination was a star system that appeared empty on all official charts. But as they dropped out of faster-than-light travel, they found themselves surrounded by massive space stations and hundreds of ships. Welcome to Haven Station, came a voice over their communications. Captain Kim, you're cleared for Docking Bay 7. The station was enormous, easily 10 times larger than anything in human space. But what shocked Hyunwoo most was how normal everything looked. This wasn't a military outpost or research facility. It was a city in space, complete with parks, schools, and residential areas. How many people live here? So Jin asked as they walked through the station's main corridor. About 2 million, answered a voice behind them. They turned to see a tall man in a uniform Hyunwoo didn't recognize. I'm Commander Ji-hoon. Welcome to the real human civilization. The tour that followed changed everything Hyun-woo thought he knew about humanity's place in the galaxy. Haven Station was just one of dozens of hidden colonies, each supporting millions of people. The technology they had developed made current human science look primitive. We've had 847 years to think about what went wrong, Ji-hoon explained as they walked through a research facility. The galactic community failed because it was built on oppression. We've been designing something better. How many humans are there, really? Dong-hyun asked. In the hidden colonies? About 40 billion. The number was staggering. Official human population was only 8 billion, all living in the small area of space around Earth. 40 billion people, and the galaxy doesn't know you exist? The galaxy knows exactly what we want them to know. That humanity is a small, weak species confined to one insignificant system. They entered a command center where dozens of people worked at advanced computer systems. Wall displays showed star maps with information Hyun-woo had never seen before. We've been watching them, Ji-hoon continued. Every move the Vorthak make, every decision by their allied species, every change in the galactic power structure. We know more about their civilization than they do. Yuna was studying one of the displays. These ships, are they ours? The Hidden Fleet. 3,000 vessels, each more advanced than anything the galactic community has ever built. You've been preparing for war for 8 centuries? We've been preparing for justice. There's a difference. They were taken to meet someone called Elder Yunji, one of the original planners of humanity's disappearance. She was very old, but still sharp, her eyes bright with intelligence. So you're the ones who found the old network, she said, studying Hyun-woo's team. We wondered when someone would stumble across it. You knew it was there? Child, we helped build it. How do you think we learned so much about the galactic community? We had access to their communication systems for 30 years. So Jin leaned forward. You were part of the original contact with the aliens? I was Dr. Chan-woo's chief researcher. When we discovered the truth about galactic society, I helped plan humanity's escape. Elder Yunji activated a holographic display showing the galaxy as it was 847 years ago. The hardest part wasn't hiding our colonies. It was making sure Earth looked convincingly destroyed. How did you do that? Carefully. We left enough evidence to suggest humanity had developed dangerous weapons and destroyed itself, rather than submit to alien rule. The galactic community was happy to believe it. Dangerous species that couldn't be controlled often chose self-destruction. And they never suspected the truth? Why would they? To them, we were just another failed species. They had seen it happen dozens of times before. The elderly woman's expression grew serious. But we were different. We didn't just hide. We planned. Every year, every generation, we prepared for the day we would return. Return to do what? To tear down their rotten system and build something worthy of intelligent life. Commander Ji-hoon brought up new displays showing current galactic politics. The oppression has only gotten worse since we left. More species enslaved, more worlds stripped of resources, more suffering. How many enslaved species are there now? Taemin asked. Over 300. Some have been slaves for thousands of years. They've forgotten what freedom looks like. Elder Yunji nodded sadly. That's why we had to wait so long. We needed to become strong enough to face the entire galactic order and win decisively. And you think you're ready now? We know we are. Your activation of the communication network was the signal we've been waiting for. Hidden colonies throughout the galaxy are preparing to reveal themselves. Hyun-woo felt overwhelmed by the scope of what he was learning.
What's the plan?
Simple, really. We give the galactic community a choice. Dismantle their oppressive system voluntarily, or we'll dismantle it for them. And if they refuse? Commander Ji-hoon smiled grimly. They will refuse. Species that have held power for millennia don't give it up peacefully. So there will be war. There will be liberation. The enslaved species have been waiting for someone strong enough to break their chains. We're that someone. Elder Unji stood slowly, her aged frame still carrying authority. Your team has played an important role in this. By finding and activating the network, you've begun the process we've planned for centuries. What happens next? Next, you get to see what humanity has really become. The Vorthak and their allies think they know us. They remember a small idealistic species that ran away rather than fight. But that's not who we are anymore. That was never who we were. We didn't run away. We strategically withdrew to become something they could never defeat. As the tour continued, Hyunwoo began to understand the incredible scope of humanity's hidden civilization. Advanced technology, massive populations, and most importantly, a unity of purpose that had been maintained for nearly 9 centuries. How did you keep this secret for so long? So-jin asked. By being patient, by thinking in terms of centuries rather than years, by remembering that justice delayed is not justice denied. Commander Ji-hoon led them to an observation deck overlooking the hidden fleet. Hundreds of sleek, powerful warships floated in formation, each one a masterpiece of human engineering. Tomorrow, these ships begin moving toward galactic community space. After 847 years of hiding, humanity returns to the galaxy, to conquer it, to free it. The galactic community made their choice long ago. Now they face the consequences. As Hyunwoo looked out at the fleet that would reshape the galaxy, he realized that finding the ancient message had been more than a discovery. It had been the beginning of humanity's return to greatness. The first sign of humanity's return came without warning. Across 50 star systems, Vorthak military installations simply stopped working. Defense grids went dark, communication networks failed, and weapon systems shut down completely. Emperor Zalthek of the Vorthak Empire stood in his command center, watching reports flood in from across his territory.
How is this possible?
He demanded. Unknown, my lord, replied his chief military advisor. The failures appear to be coordinated, but we detect no attacking force. On the planet Zerion, Security Chief Dong Hyun led a team of human commandos through the capital city's government district. They moved like ghosts, their advanced suits making them nearly invisible. Their mission was simple: prove that nowhere was safe from human reach. Target building secured, Dong Hyun reported into his communicator. Defense systems disabled, data cores accessed. No casualties taken or inflicted. Similar operations were happening on dozens of worlds. Human teams infiltrated the most secure facilities in galactic space, left evidence of their presence, and vanished without harming anyone. The message was clear. We can reach you anywhere, anytime. Fleet Admiral Sung-ho commanded the operation from his flagship, the Retribution. The massive vessel hung in space just outside Vorthak territory, invisible to their sensors but monitoring everything. Phase 1 complete, he announced to his bridge crew. All target facilities have been penetrated. Uploading diplomatic package now. Across the galaxy, every government building, military base, and communication center simultaneously received the same message. It appeared on screens, played through speakers, and was broadcast on every frequency. The voice belonged to diplomat Hye Jin, speaking with calm authority. To the leaders of the galactic community, this is humanity. We have returned. In the Vorthak command center, Emperor Zalthek watched in growing horror as the message continued. 4 years ago, you forced us to choose between slavery and death. We chose a third option. We chose to become your judges. Heejin's image appeared on screens throughout galactic space. She stood before the flag of unified humanity, her expression serious but not threatening. We have spent 8 centuries studying your civilization. We have watched you enslave entire species, strip planets bare, and crush anyone who dared to resist. This ends now. The Emperor's advisors scrambled to respond, but their communication systems were still compromised. You have witnessed our capabilities. Your most secure facilities have been penetrated. Your strongest defenses have been bypassed. This was accomplished without violence as a demonstration of restraint. On the bridge of the Retribution, Admiral Sung-ho watched as reports came in from across the galaxy. The coordinated operation had been flawlessly executed. Every major government had received the message. You will receive our terms within 1 standard day. Hyejin's message continued. You may accept them, or you may face the full might of a species that has spent 8 centuries preparing for this moment. The choice, as always, is yours. The transmission ended, leaving the galactic community in chaos. Emergency meetings were called on every world. Military forces were mobilized. Panic spread through the halls of power, but the humans weren't finished. Dr. So-jin sat in a broadcast center on Haven Station, preparing the second part of their revelation. Her job was to speak directly to the enslaved populations of the galaxy. This is a message for all those who labor in chains, she began, her voice reaching billions of oppressed beings. We are humanity. We remember what you have forgotten. We remember freedom. The broadcast included historical records that the galactic community had tried to erase. Evidence of peaceful species forced into slavery, of worlds stripped bare by their oppressors, of genocide committed in the name of galactic order. For too long, you have been told that slavery is natural, that some species are born to rule while others are born to serve. This is a lie. On mining worlds throughout the galaxy, slaves looked up from their work to hear words they had never expected to hear. Your masters will tell you that resistance is hopeless. They will say that the natural order cannot be changed. But we are proof that they are wrong. Images of human colonies showed free beings living in prosperity, working by choice rather than force, creating instead of merely surviving. We offer you hope. We offer you freedom. We offer you the chance to stand up and reclaim what was stolen from you. The response was immediate. On dozens of worlds, enslaved populations began to organize. Some resisted openly, others prepared for the opportunity that humanity's arrival might bring. Emperor Zalthek watched these developments with growing dread. "How many ships do they have?" he asked his military commander. "Unknown, my lord. Our sensors cannot detect their fleet." "What do you mean you cannot detect them?" "Their technology appears far more advanced than our own. We believe they are present in our space, but we cannot see them." The Emperor's worst fears were confirmed when Admiral Sung Ho's fleet finally revealed itself. 3,000 human warships appeared simultaneously throughout Vorthak space, their stealth systems deactivated to show their overwhelming presence. "Magnificent," Captain Hyunwoo said from the bridge of his assigned vessel. He had been given command of a destroyer and ordered to participate in the final demonstration of human power. "All vessels, commence final phase," Admiral Sung Ho ordered. What followed was the most precise military operation in galactic history. Human ships moved with perfect coordination, surrounding every major Vorthak installation. They didn't attack, but their message was unmistakable. "Surrender or be destroyed. Emperor Zalthek," came Admiral Sung Ho's voice over the communication system. "This is Fleet Admiral Sung Ho of the Human Liberation Force. You have 6 hours to respond to our terms." "What terms?" the Emperor demanded. "Complete dismantlement of the slave system, freedom for all enslaved species, reparations for 8 centuries of oppression, and submission to human oversight of galactic affairs." "Impossible. We will never submit to a species of primitives. We are no longer the species you remember, Emperor. You forced us to evolve beyond your ability to comprehend." As if to prove the point, human ships began demonstrating technology that defied everything the Vorthak thought they knew about physics. Vessels moved without visible propulsion, weapons charged with no apparent energy source, and shields absorbed attacks that should have been devastating. "You have 5 hours and 57 minutes to decide," Admiral Sung Ho said calmly. Throughout the galaxy, other alien leaders watched the confrontation with the Vorthak Empire. Some prepared to fight, others began considering surrender, and a few started planning how to join the winning side. But for the enslaved species of the galaxy, there was only hope. After centuries of oppression, someone had finally come who was strong enough to break their chains. The humans had returned and nothing would ever be the same. 1 year later, Captain Hyunwoo stood on the observation deck of New Geneva Station, watching ships from 100 different species dock at the massive facility. The station served as the new capital of galactic civilization, built in the neutral space between former enemy territories. "Hard to believe how much has changed," Dr. Sojin said, joining him at the viewing window. She now wore the uniform of the Galactic Truth Commission, tasked with documenting the crimes of the old order. Below them, representatives from species that had been enemies for millennia worked together in the station's council chambers. The transformation hadn't been easy, but it had been necessary. "The Vorthak delegation is requesting another meeting," Communications Officer Yuna reported as she approached. She now served as coordinator for interspecies communications, helping former slaves learn to speak as equals. "What do they want this time?" Hyunwoo asked. "Reduction of their reparation payments. They claim the current levels are economically devastating." Hyunwoo nodded. "Schedule them for tomorrow, after the Zalarian Freedom Celebration." The galaxy had not transformed peacefully. When humanity's ultimatum expired, Emperor Zalthek had chosen to fight rather than surrender. The war that followed lasted 3 months and ended with the complete destruction of Vorthak military power. But the humans had been careful. They targeted only military installations and government facilities. Civilian populations were protected, and even defeated enemies were offered the chance to join the new order. "How are the integration programs going?" Sojin asked. "Better than expected. Most of the former slave species are adapting well to freedom. It's the former oppressors who are having trouble." Engineer Taemin appeared on the deck carrying a datapad filled with reports. "The technology sharing programs are ahead of schedule. 12 species have already reached pre-contact development levels. The humans had been generous with their advanced technology, but careful about what they shared. Weapons technology remained restricted, while medical, agricultural, and industrial advances were freely distributed." "Any problems with the Krellian system?" Hyunwoo asked. "Minor protests about human oversight, but nothing serious. Most of their population supports the new government." The former galactic community had been completely restructured. Species that had been oppressed for centuries now had equal voices in galactic affairs. Those who had been oppressors faced trials for their crimes, but were given chances to earn redemption. Admiral Boram's voice came over the station's communication system. "All senior staff to the command center. Priority briefing." The team made their way through corridors filled with beings from across the galaxy. Children of species that had been slaves for generations played together in the station's parks. It was a sight that would have been impossible under the old order. In the command center, Admiral Boram stood before a massive holographic display showing the entire galaxy. Green markers indicated systems under the new Galactic Council. Yellow showed areas still in transition. Red marked the few systems still resisting human authority. "Status report," she announced to the assembled staff. "Dr. Sojin, how are the Truth Commission hearings proceeding?" "We've documented crimes on over 200 worlds. The evidence is overwhelming. Some species were enslaved for so long they had forgotten their own names. But they're remembering now?" "Yes. Cultural reconstruction programs are helping them rebuild their identities. It's remarkable how quickly beings adapt to freedom when given the chance." Admiral Boram turned to Taemin. "Technology integration?" "Proceeding smoothly. Former slave species are eager to learn. Former oppressor species are less enthusiastic, but they're complying." "Yuna, communication status?" "All systems operational. We now have real-time communication with 98% of inhabited systems. The old network has been completely rebuilt with human technology." "Security Chief Donghyun?" Donghyun stepped forward. "Resistance activities are minimal and decreasing. Most remaining opposition comes from criminal organizations that profited under the old system." Admiral Boram nodded with satisfaction. "The Galactic Council meeting tomorrow will address the final integration protocols. After that, we can consider the transition complete." "What about Earth?" Hyunwoo asked. "When do we tell them the full truth?" "Soon. The hidden colonies are preparing to reveal themselves gradually. Earth's population needs time to understand that they're not alone." The meeting concluded and the staff dispersed to their duties. Hyunwoo remained behind with Admiral Boram. "Do you ever wonder if we did the right thing?" he asked. Boram looked out at the bustling galactic capital. "Every day. But then I see former slaves learning to read, or watch species that were enemies for millennia working together, and I know we made the right choice." "The old order would have continued forever?" "Probably. Oppressive systems don't reform themselves. Someone has to tear them down and build something better." Later that evening, Hyunwoo attended the Zilarian Freedom Celebration. The Zilarians had been slaves for over 800 years, forced to work in dangerous mines throughout the galaxy. Now they were free, rebuilding their culture and reclaiming their homeworld. Elder Kir-An, the senior Zilarian representative, approached Hyunwoo during the celebration. "Captain, I wanted to thank you personally. Your species gave us something we thought was lost forever." "What's that?" "Hope. For 8 centuries we believed freedom was impossible. You proved us wrong. You freed yourselves. We just gave you the opportunity." "Perhaps. But without humanity's courage we would still be slaves." As the celebration continued, Hyunwoo reflected on the journey that had brought them here. It had started with a simple archaeological expedition and led to the complete transformation of galactic civilization. The final message from Earth 847 years ago had indeed sealed someone's fate. But it wasn't humanity that had been doomed. It was the oppressive system that had driven them away. "Captain," Yuna approached with a communication pad. "Message from Director Jae-ho on Earth." Hyunwoo read the message and smiled. Earth's hidden population was preparing to reveal itself. Soon the official human population would learn they were part of a civilization that spanned the galaxy. Any response? Una asked. Tell them we're ready when they are. The galaxy is free, and it's time for all of humanity to come home. As he looked out at the diverse collection of beings working together to build a better future, Hyunwoo knew they had accomplished something remarkable. They had taken a galaxy built on oppression and transformed it into something worthy of intelligent life. The message Earth had sent centuries ago had been more than a farewell. It had been a promise that humanity would return when they were strong enough to make a difference. That promise had been kept. The galaxy was free and it would never be enslaved again. Standing on the observation deck of New Geneva Station, watching ships from 100 worlds working together in harmony, Captain Hyunwoo knew that Earth's final message had become the galaxy's new beginning.